Hey loves, it's Jay now, and we're here to talk about yet another episode of this foolishness and shenanigans. So let's talk about it. The most dangerous man you will ever deal with. Not the broke one, not the rude one, not even the obvious cheater, but the insecure one with power, access, and accountability. Watching episode 3 of Sean Combs' The Reckoning was like sitting in a masterclass on how an unhealed, insecure man weaponizes money, status, sex, and women's devotion to build his own personal playground, and then turns it into a battlefield. From the way he moved with Kim Porter, to the grooming and control with Cassie, to those freak offs, to the way ex employees describe fear, silence, and compliance, what we're really seeing is not just Diddy the mogul. We're seeing a blueprint of how insecurity, when it's not healed, becomes predatory. In this video, I'm not here to argue about whether you like Diddy, 50 Cent, or any of these celebrities. I don't know them, and most of y'all don't know them either. We just like the messy tea online. I'm here as a relationship coach to pull out the patterns that matter for your real life. Because while most men don't have Ciroc money, private jets, or 14-day drug deal, drug benders, a lot of them do have the same mindset, needing to dominate sexually, needing to own you emotionally, needing you small so they can feel big. Episode 3 gives us a chilling case, just a chilling case study, I should say, of what happens when an insecure boy grows into a powerful man and nobody ever tells him no. So we're going to break this down. Kind of like how insecurity turns into control, how preferences become policing, how sex becomes a weapon, all the things we're going to look at here. And as always, everything we're discussing here is based on allegations and documentary accounts, but the patterns they reveal, those are very real. And some of you are dating men like this right now. So let's get into it.
Diddy the Reckoning recap part 3. It's boy Youngstar63 Fat Jack the DJ. I need you to like, comment, follow, share, and get into this because remember, we are now doing part 3. We did parts 1, we did part 2. This is our analysis and peer review of part 3. We are only talking about part 3. I don't care about your personal aspects of Diddy, your personal thoughts. I don't care how you feel about 50. We're talking about part 3 of the documentary. Now, part 3 is the part that I feel like we wanted to see. His love life, his love interest, the way he moved with these women, and why he decided it was his, obligation to beat on women. Puff, you can't beat on bitches. Stop beating bitches. That's bad. It's bad, Puff. It's bad, bad, bad. Hard stop. Just so y'all know, because y'all love to say I'm a Diddy lover or I'm trying to defend Diddy. I'm not. Hard stop. Beating bitches is bad. Don't do it. But it dove into his relationship with Kim Porter, who we all know is really the love of his life and pretty much the only one who would keep him in check. But Kim Porter was not a little girl. Kim Porter was not some run-of-the-mill groupie chick. Kim Porter came from a good household. She came from good structure, and she let him know, you're not going to treat me any kind of way. And that's why Kim Porter left every time she felt like leaving. It was alleged in the video, in the documentary, that he put his hands on Kim Porter, which a lot of us know, or a lot of us have heard, I should say. It goes on to how Cassie molded into the relationship and how Cassie just molded into his life, how he once again took somebody's girlfriend. She was with Ryan Leslie, and then before you know it, Ryan Leslie was not around. Personally, I think she chose up. Didn't know she was choosing a monster, but she was choosing up. She was doing what any young girl would have did. Can't blame Cassie for that. And it just, the dynamics of his relationships with women, his need to control, his jealousy. This is where we heard that, Puff and Justin were in the freak-offs and things of that nature. And it was like, well, why Puff and Justin? They didn't say anything about Christian or Quincy. It was just Puff and Justin. I mean, I guess one son was going to pick up, some habits. They had their own special code at Booby Trap in Miami. You just put on the bad boy hat, and the biddies knew that Puff was having a pussy party. So it was like, Puff just had his freak-offs established. I am curious as to know why they don't mention his other child's mother. Also, not to remember, they don't mention his sister being a part of his upbringing at all either. They did make it seem like he was an only child, and no, he had a sister who grew up in the home with him. Why was so many details that we know is fact left out of this documentary? I do not know, and I do not have much input on this part of the documentary, because this, like I said, this is where it got kind of personal. I really did learn a lot. Like, I will not hide the fact that I was a bad boy fanatic as a kid. So a lot of these Tupac Biggie stories I was aware of, the upbringing stories I was aware of, but this and his dynamic with the women in his life, this was very new to me, and this is something that I'm going to keep my mouth shut on, because I still live by an old school code, and that is that man's business. But beating bitches is bad. We are going to hard stop at that. Don't beat bitches. That's not okay. Bad. And yeah, how do y'all feel?
Excuse me, P. Diddy. Why would you be a killer and a cuck? You need to pick one. You need to pick a damn struggle. I had to take a break, drop them weight loss orders off, see a client, and I needed to do that because this was a lot of information to take in. I'm glad I had the wherewithal that I needed to decompress from the first 2 episodes, because this last episode, what do you mean you were so much of a cuck that y'all was fucking for 2-3 days straight off them drugs? Mark Curry making him sound like Kermit sent me. I'm on my cross. I'm on my cross. The other part that sent me was him being violent in Jesus' name. He put himself on that cross, Hezekiah Walker said. And then he said, if y'all don't take it down, I'm going to beat you up. Okay, we have to go back to the things of Christ. So you got the right idea, wrong game plan. You so worried about not being blasphemous, but you let a man who ain't shoot the gun take a 10-year charge. And that's why Shine went back to Belize, became a preacher his motherfucking self, and a politician. Shout out to Shine, because he ain't participating in this bullshit. He ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm in Belize, bitch. Back to you being a cuck. What do you mean you was collecting that young man's semen and having her play with it? Because it was his and not yours. And that got you off. It's too much. It's too much. Ooh, may God never make a man like that cross my path, bitch. If my man asked me to fuck another nigga in front of him, I might get violent my damn self. I've been working on my nonviolent PR. I told myself in December, no violence. We're working on my nonviolent PR. But on a serious note, when he was talking about how Diddy got most likely addicted to drugs because he had an injury where he had to take perks, that's why I literally got on here and said, whenever I have to do something, get surgery, I don't play like that. I had my mama send me some of them high dosage fucking gummies from the dispensaries. I'll be high as hell, but not on the bullshit, because I don't play with them opioids. So many people get addicted to opioids just off of getting surgery. Like that you started taking it because you needed it and now you can't stop. Fuck that. Girl, I had to fast forward through that video of him beating Cassie ass, because I saw it the first time, and I said some shit, it's like Roots. You only see that shit once. I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see that shit. Back to you being a cuck. You was having her fuck that man on B.I.G.'s death day. That is some sick shit. How you ain't give Misa no money for the motherfucking baby? The motherfucking baby you have doing all your motherfucking dirty work now. That don't make no damn sense. I know he was trying to be an asshole when he was talking about, I just hugged 150 people. You feel me? I need to go wash my hands. I need to go wash myself. I know he was being rude, like trying to make it seem like everyone was peasants. But that is not the wrong idea. I think when you out in big crowds and stuff and you make a lot of contact, you should go home and sanitize yourself and spray everything down with Lysol. I do the same thing, but not in like a I think I'm better than y'all way. In a like I've survived COVID type way. I don't want to get sick. For real. Seriously. Love y'all. Back to being a motherfucking cuck. You was lacing the baby oil? You just wanted to be slippery and shiny while watching Cassie fuck. Ew.
So out of all 3 episodes I've watched so far, this one had to have been the darkest one, because this was like the Cassie. This is what happened during the Cassie phase, and all I'm saying is that CCTV footage. Every time I come across it, I try to avoid it. But obviously, in this documentary, I had to see it. That was so disturbing to watch. I'll be so real. That was very, very disturbing to watch. But before we get into this, just to let you know, this is a shortened version of the review. If you are new here, this is a shortened version. To watch the full version, head over to my YouTube channel. It's going to be in the description. Let's get into this review. So Tim Patterson was saying how Combs made women he was with basically have an overnight success. And also how Misa, which is Justin's mum, it was his first project. I said it in the YouTube one, and I'll also say it here as well. When you're at a young, impressionable age, right, and you want a career in something, whether that's singing or dancing, or I'm going to use the entertainment industry as an example. Let's say you want like you want the limelight, you want all of that. Like, it looks good. Like, you see other people. I know at a young age you're gonna be like, yes, you might jump to it, but let this be a lesson. Always question, but what's the catch? You always have to like question these things. You should never, if someone offers you a contract, or if someone is just like, you always have to question things. Like, in life, I feel like some people, yeah, and people always say like, take the leap of faith, this and that. Yeah, take the leap of faith, but be smart when taking that leap of faith. Don't just take the leap of faith blindly. Like, I don't believe in that personally. Like, you always have to second guess things. I don't care. Like, that's just the way I live. Like, anytime someone does something for me, if you're my friend, I know it's genuine. If you're not my friend, I do question it, because it's like, what's your motive? If I haven't known you a long time, or you're not my people's, I'm going to be questioning your motives. I'm going to be saying to myself, okay, is this genuine? Or because like, when you've been like betrayed, or people have effed you over so many times, you start to have these kind of questions. So in terms like this, if people are offering you, oh, if you do this, we can make you the next superstar, this, that, question it. Be like, but okay, cool. What comes with this? It's the same. Anyway, actually, let me not talk too much. During the time he was seeing Misa asked Kirk, where is the money that Sean is supposed to be giving for their child, which is Justin. Meanwhile, Sean was living a whole other life with Kim Porter. Roger Bonds, which is the former security, has never seen Diddy punch or hit Kim, but has been outside of the room when he has heard things going on. Diddy wanted a woman that he could control, basically. A woman that would listen to him. Basically, what he said was law. There is no if, but it wasn't a democracy, it was a dictatorship being around Diddy. He wanted that control. He wanted to have that power. But something that I mentioned in my YouTube review, and I'm going to mention it in this one, when it came across to like Diddy having issues with men, and I clocked him, when it came to him like having issue with men, like in the past, he would always get other men to do his dirty work. Clock it, right? He would always get other men to do his dirty work. But when it came to like dealing with women, he had no problem putting hands on women. This is all alleged, by the way. I keep forgetting to say at the start, this is all alleged. Everything I'm saying is alleged. Everything I'm saying is alleged. He allegedly, well, we've seen the clips of, but this is a running theme. Like, when it comes to the men, you're getting other men to do the dirty work instead of you allegedly doing all this yourself. But with women, you have allegedly no problem putting your hands on them. It's crazy to me. Aubrey was in school to become an attorney, but her mum told her that she's way too talented to just be a lawyer. She wanted basically her to use her talent for great use. And this is when Diddy kind of made this reality show called Making the Band. Put in the comment section if you've seen this. I've never seen it. When all this stuff was taking place, I was like probably still a toddler. This was like early 2000s. I was still a toddler. I was still young. So it was groups like Dainty Kane, which Aubrey was a part of, The Band, and Day 26. I've never heard of these groups. I'll be so real. Like, I've never heard of these groups. I've never heard of them. And then basically Aubrey ended up receiving an email from Diddy basically wanting to do actual acts with her. And basically she declined, obviously. Like, she just wasn't with it. 30 days later, she ended up getting fired. And that seems to be a running theme, because in yesterday's episode, when Kirk didn't want to move forward with the was it Kirk? Yeah, I'm getting confused with him and Tim, but I think it was Kirk. Kirk was the one that when he said no about the Biggie thing, like, no, he didn't want to make the terms more favorable for them, how he said it was wrong. 90 days, Kirk ended up getting fired. So it's just like a running theme in terms of when you basically don't tell Diddy no, in a way. Like, it's like, you either tell me yes, or like you're gonna reap the consequences, whether that is allegedly like physical, mentally, financially, like all these things. And it seems to be a running theme. But to catch the rest, head over to my YouTube channel for a deeper dive on this episode.
Not gonna lie, this one made my stomach turn. I think it's more about the fact that you're able to see the way that he treated these women, man. It's terrible. You know, and they're showing a lot about Kim Porter here and about her relationship with Cassie. And, you know, something that's really stuck out to me is like the people doing this interview were his homies at some point, like legitimate, like people on his record, his security guard, like probably managers and things like that. This goes to show how crazy, like, you know how bad of a person you got to be for everybody to give you up. Granted, I know Netflix is giving out some bread to have you on this to get your testimony, but even then, like, you know, the amount of damage that you've done to these people's lives, and they talking about it. You know, can you always like truly 100% believe these Netflix documentaries? Like, maybe, but if I had to really stand on it, I think that this thing has to be about like 90 to 95% accurate. When you're seeing all these testimonies, the news reports, honestly, this one may go out to Gen X. Yo, y'all grew up in the middle of this, bro. You know, I know a few Diddy songs. You know, me and you from Cassie, they talked about it. That was a banger. Still slaps to this day. Like, I grew up around that time, but I didn't know all of this was going on with Bad Boy. I didn't know. I'm learning about my American background through this documentary, especially for my community, you know, from the Bronx, right down the block from Harlem, right across the way. So it was crazy, man. What else they talked about here? I think they focused on the making the band. And then you just think about how, you know what this puts into perspective to me? The Chappelle Show. I didn't know what Dave Chappelle was talking about. Go outside and get me some baby oil and get me some cheesecake. This joint had me weak. Well, this is actually sad. He's taking advantage of all these young people. But Dave Chappelle was on the money with this one, bro. He was on the money with it. So we saw everything going on with, you know, making the band. And then we talk about Ciroc. So, you know, halfway through the documentary, you're like, oh, they talking about Ciroc now? And then it just talks about, like, you cannot deny. You just cannot deny how much of a powerhouse Diddy was. You just can't. You can hate him. The dude is a criminal. It's everything that you say. But at the end of the day, bro, like, he was the brand. You know, he said something in this interview that I thought really stuck out, where he was like that he is the market value for the black community. Like, he is showing the heights. And of course, like, who was up to him? Dr. Dre, Jay-Z. Can't deny that this is one of the top three, but I thought it was super interesting to see how, you know, where your mind can get poisoned. It's like that saying goes, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that is shown here. We found out early in like episode 1 when he slapped his mama. I was like, oh, nah. You slapping your mom? Nobody can tell you nothing. And we seeing that, man. No, this part had me cracking up right here when they introduced his gigolo. I was like, oh. At first, that boy was talking like he was just a casual, you know, walked into the room, got the phone call pulled up. Now I'm figuring out that he was in this relationship for 8 years. He knows about the freak offs. That boy knows what's up. And then I was shocked to see in the Netflix documentary, but I know it's Netflix, so that they showed the Cassie video in the hotel. Like, that's crazy. This man, bro, I don't know. I'm interested to see how they wrap up this documentary in the next episode, but at the end of the day, bro, you know, even if he walks out of this, you know, prison sentence and comes back into society and does everything, this documentary made a splash, bro. This is up there with the Michael Jordan documentaries, the documentary with The Last Dance, where now everybody thinks that Jordan was the GOAT. I don't think, and it's clearly LeBron. Just want to put that out there. But in this situation, I don't know how Diddy's going to walk out of this unscathed, especially with this last scene here, where they're showing like him after he was down in Harlem, you know, politicking with the people. And then seeing what he said in the car, bruh, this is a bad, bad boy. Man, 50 months is all he got. It's going to be crazy, bro. I'll tune in with y'all after the finale.
What Do you mean that Sean Combs built Misa, Justin's mother, his first baby mama, in Janice's likeness? The relationship these two have must be studied. Hi, hello, we've made it to episode 3 of the Diddy doc. Don't ask me about nothing that happened in episode 1 and 2. Go back, watch the videos. Don't talk to me about what Justin did, because that happened in episode 4. We'll talk about that tomorrow. The next thing that I want to clear up, the people who are watching, are y'all watching like this? Because when they flashed that picture across the screen, the picture was Janice, Mr. Combs, and a baby Diddy. Diddy got that mouth. He got veneers now, but he got that mouth. He got his daddy mouth. This documentary did a really good job of moving through the iterations of Puff Daddy. Keep in mind that it was Puffy, Puff Daddy, up until that club shooting that resulted in Shine going to jail for 10 years. The year is 1998. Puff Daddy is going to be on the Godzilla soundtrack. The song Come With Me, written by Mark Curry. According to Mark Curry, Puff Daddy rapping was the equivalent to Eazy-E when he began. Cruising down the people who put this together, geniuses. Okay, while all of this is going on, Mark Curry is living in Puff Daddy's brownstone. Okay, who is he living with? He's living with Shine. Oh! Mark Curry says he comes home, he sees Shine playing with the street artillery. Okay, he got the bullet jammed in the street artillery. He can't get it unjammed. Okay, Mark Curry says if you don't know how to get the bullet unjammed, then you should just stop messing with the street artillery. Next thing we know, Shine is taking the blame for shooting that lady in the face during that club night with Puff Daddy, J-Lo, and Shine. This is not good. Puff Daddy don't need to be in this trouble because he had just got finished beating up the music exec that would not take the scene of him portraying Jesus on a cross out of a music video. A decision he only came up with after Hezekiah Walker said, hi, hello, is you cool? Mace and Farnsworth Bentley are the only people that I want to speak with. I don't know how to get in touch with them, so we leave off at Diddy has to get off on the case. We need Shine to take the rap for it, but don't worry, Shine will get you lawyers. That's right. Diddy provided the lawyers for Shine. Shine's legal team was on Diddy's payroll, and so they threw the game on purpose, resulting in Shine getting 10 years in federal prison. It is at this time that everybody is like, listen, bad boy is not good for me. These people really is ending up in jail. These people really is broke. I really am leaving. And that's when Locks, Faith Evans, Total, everybody left bad boy. J-Lo even left this man on Valentine's Day. And I say everybody left, I mean even the head of A&R who had been with them since Uptown Records. Everybody said, no. That's when Diddy says to himself, I need something big. I need another move. Making the band. Remember, right after Shine goes to jail in 2001, Mr. Papa Diddy Pop needs to reinvent himself. We are now known publicly as P. Diddy. In order for the name change to make sense, in order for it to stick, the con artist had to find some sort of continuity. So he goes back to the original crime, Biggie Smalls, the man who he claimed was his best friend, and he tells the whole world, Biggie gave me the name P. Diddy. You can now call me P. Diddy. Somehow, some way, a deal is inked. Making the Band is now on MTV. And this man, who had no way into the pop world, is now #1 on MTV. Sean Puffy Puff Daddy Combs has now officially reinvented himself into P. Diddy, looking to embark on a pop world. This man has now premiered Making the Band on MTV. The band is made, and now we're making Danity Kane. Insert Aubrey O'Day. If you are a Danity Kane fan, you know. If you're not, go do your homework. Why do we keep committing crimes via email? Why do we keep going into our computer, opening it up, and typing our illegal activity? In episode 3, we find out that Diddy decided Aubrey was the looker of the group. And if you talk to people around at that time, out of all of the group members, Aubrey got it the worst. During this episode, the girl pulls out her phone and proceeds to read emails that Diddy, her boss, sent her. Illicit eggplant pics, okay? Typed out fantasies of what he wanted to do with this girl and told her, when you ready to get right, hit your boy up. Aubrey O'Day did not want to be with Mr. Papa Diddy Pop like that. She just wanted to sing. That wasn't going to work for Diddy, so 6 months later, he fired her on live TV. We all saw it. And not much longer after that, Diddy Dirty Money featuring Dawn Richards from Danity Kane is now in the works. There are 2 reasons we will never see Making the Band on any streaming platform television thing ever. Number 1, clearance rules was different. They ain't no way in the world Sean Combs is getting ready to pay what it costs for us to watch them sing other people's music. Reason number 1. Reason number 2. That man would incriminate the hell out of himself. I'm telling you, Letitia James would find a reason to have to prosecute him again because it's all in the tapes. If you know me personally, I have said what I'm getting ready to say to you since the moment Diddy Dirty Money was a group. That man did something to her. I don't know if it was forced or if, like they said in the documentary, Dawn just wanted to be accepted by Mr. Papa Diddy Pop. See, the thing is, when you are a reality TV star, especially one from the early 2000s, when it was real, we know you. I've always maintained that the Dawn Richards that popped up in this group was not the same. I always felt like when we saw her, her eyes were glazed over. Even when the group first came out, I said something ain't right. And we got hours and hours of footage of baby girl. I know what right is supposed to look like to a certain extent. The year is 2006. Cassie, Cassandra, Ryan Leslie's girlfriend, is officially in the picture. I want to go on record saying the best thing that Cassie has ever done in her life is not get pregnant by the monster. Now, mind you, in 2006, Kim Porter is very much still in the picture. Diddy has weaseled his way into Cassie's life, pushed Ryan Leslie out the picture, and now Cassie has a 10-album deal with Sean Combs. I think that Sean Combs really did think that Cassie was dope. I think he might have even saw it for her musicality, right? The artist that she is. But I do think by the time Cassie came along, after Making the Band and stuff was pretty much done, Diddy realized that the money was not in the music. Ciroc, you will pay for your crimes against humanity. I really do think that this Ciroc deal that was upwards of $100 million is the deal that fully sealed the deal on this man being the monster that he really is. Ciroc is moving about 40,000 cases a year. They tell this man, Papa Diddy Pop, if you could move 1 million cases in a year, we'll give you $100 million plus. As a former red dot girly, the propaganda worked. The red dot stories that I can tell you, oh my God. I don't care. We could lose it all tomorrow. Don't you bring no blue dot or no orange dot Ciroc to nothing that I'm at. That peach Ciroc is going to make me want to throw up every time. Y'all had to be there. After that deal, Diddy said, you know what? I am going to have my Kate and my Edith too, except it was Cassie and Kim. And it worked until it didn't work. The lore is that Kim Porter and Diddy get into an argument. We don't know if Kim Porter did it or if Diddy did it to himself because he is a melodramatic narcissist. Nevertheless, Diddy's wrist is slit, okay? They got to get that taken care of, but privately. After they get that handled, the man is in pain. He needs the painkillers, and this is what really just sparks his drug addiction. Remember, when we met this man in episode 1, he didn't drink and he detests marijuana. No, now we're going to read directly from the notes because what you mean, Clayton, the fun time worker, The gentleman of the night got paid $6,000 for 20 hours of brown chicken, brown cow. Clayton, babes, I don't mean to tell you how to run your business, but you definitely need to step your bussy up. $6,000. What? I want you to know that that gentleman of the night was their gentleman of the night for the next 8 years. Did this come with a W-2? Does this man get some sort of anniversary gift? I don't too much like that girl Klarna from Diddy Dirty Money, but she told us that the zone that all the bad boy artists be on, yeah, that's like strawberry cocaine, purple cocaine, pink cocaine. First of all, I just thought the cocaine was supposed to be white. When did it start coming in unicorn colors? But by now, Mr. Can't Stop, Won't Stop, he's on the ecstasy pills, and they are staying up for days at a time. They are going on 2-day brown chicken, brown cow benders. Ow. Clayton, the gentleman of the night, said that they used to collect his kids and keep it. When he asked them why they did that, Diddy said because he likes Cassie to play with it and to drink it. On March 9th, every year, Diddy celebrates Biggie Day. In celebration of Biggie Day, they fly the man of the night, Clayton, out. In episode 3, we find out that Diddy likes to go on 14-day drug benders. This cannot be good for the heart, and maybe that is what the medication bottles was. This man was sitting there vaping on the side of his bed, walking to the bedroom, drinking, coming back to the side of the bed, smoking, and the whole time it's a bottle of Tums there. Like, slow down, Grandpa. At one point, the gentleman of the night said he came for a rendezvous, okay? At that rendezvous, Cassie offered him a drink. Diddy said, don't give him no drink. Cassie still gave the man a drink. He walked up to Cassie, punched her in her chest. At one point, he jumped on top of her and was doing it to her while the gentleman of the night was in the bed. Cassie looks over at the gentleman of the night named Clayton, smirks. Diddy don't like that, so he proceeds to kick Cassie. You are that is what. My Cassie, God bless you, girl. I hope you have good therapy. I can't even. Diddy is a big man. A man nonetheless. I mean, everybody should keep their hands to themselves, but should no man be punching no woman, no little woman like Cassie in the chat. Diddy hates the blacks. This man is not okay. This man would not be where he was if it were not for the blacks. If the blacks didn't buy into the propaganda that he pushed with Ciroc, we wouldn't even really know you the way that we do. And yet, you can't stand us. 50 Cent, you are a petty man. There is a former security guard. The man was in episode 3. I cannot remember his name, but he came out to social media and he was like, the reason that this footage is even available for 50 Cent to buy is because Diddy got a young, hungry videographer. This is how he does it. Somebody who is blinded by the fact that he is Diddy. Okay. And he like, yeah, we making a documentary. We outside. We going to be lit. 160 hours in a week. Now, you done filmed for 150 hours and you agreed upon a number per hour. When the boy submits the timesheet, you don't want to pay it because why you charging Diddy all of this money? So it got sold to the highest bidder. That bidder of 50 Cent. What did we see in the footage? Diddy acting disgusted because people were touching him. Now, me, baby, I am a germaphobe to a certain extent. Y'all are disgusting. Y'all are disgusting. And that was confirmed during COVID. Y'all are booger eaters, nose diggers, and you pee and you don't wash your hands. Y'all are gross. Also, Diddy, not too much on the blacks. Thing that I found the most interesting about episode 3 is being able to watch Diddy so obviously be torn up about the fact that Dawn Richards filed a lawsuit. Okay? There's some there. Where there's smoke, there is fire. Go investigate that more.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. Why insecure men become dangerous. So there are 5 main points that I derived from this episode 3 of the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary that I really want to convey, and I'm looking at it through the lens of a relationship coach. So I really want to bring you the point and then like a relationship coaching lesson. So let's jump into it. Point 1. Insecurity plus power equals abuse. Diddy's insecurities weren't hidden. Episode 3 shows how it escalated into domination and violence, from like his former security and insiders describing his need to control every aspect of his relationships, from women's schedules to their clothing, movements, and friendships, how he lashed out when women didn't comply, often using rage to reestablish dominance. Cassie's team described unpredictable moods that shifted from attention to aggression within minutes. The freak-off culture, which was built around him being the center emotionally and sexual. And also, that's a lot of sex rituals and sex magic if you understand the spiritual side of what he was doing. Very problematic. And then also how he used status and visibility to ensure partners couldn't easily challenge or leave him. So a relationship coaching lesson for this first point is a man who feels small inside but powerful outside becomes dangerous. Insecure men with resources don't calm down. They escalate because they can. Look at how he manages, envy, jealousy, and comparison. That's very important to see. Look in the documentary how Diddy manages things. It was not well, and it usually end up in the harm of women and children. How a man manages his envy, jealousy, and comparison, that will tell you the future. And if you don't like what you see, leave. Safely, of course. All right. The second point I really want to bring out is the need to dominate sexually. Diddy's sexual behavior was not about pleasure. It was about control, humiliation, and power. In episode 3, we saw details where interviews revealed like the orchestrated freak-offs involving his son Justin, where women were objects in his power exhibitions. Clayton, the sex worker, described 8 years of being flown out to participate in multi-day sex benders tied to drugs, voyeurism, and forced compliance. How Cassie was pressured into sex acts she did not want, often in environments where refusal was impossible. How he collected sexual fluids, Clayton's kids, as trophies, showing possession, not intimacy. And then Cassie smirking during an encounter triggered violence because her desire belonged to him, not herself, right? All of those things are terrifying. So the relationship coaching lesson here is when sex becomes a tool of ownership or compliance, you are no longer a partner. You are an accessory. If a man needs to dominate sexually to feel powerful, he will eventually violate you emotionally and or physically. Pay attention to that. A man's level of sexual aggression and how he emotes and behaves with you when you are in doing any sexual acts is so important. Or is he treating you with respect and like a partner, or is he treating you like a doll and an accessory? Very important distinction for you to make for your own safety. Point number 3, emotional regulation issues. We see in episode 3 how almost incapable Diddy is of healthy emotional processing, and he used violence as emotional relief. So some of the details that we saw in episode 3 is that Cassie was punched, kicked, dragged, and beaten, and that CCTV footage confirms this was not isolated. When we saw that come out, everybody was shocked and appalled. Many people knew he was like this, but to see it unfiltered and unadulterated removed all doubt. Former employees said they heard the violence even when they didn't see it. After arguments, he needed freak-offs, drugs, alcohol, or humiliating scenarios to self-soothe. So he needed to cause harm and inflict pain to self-soothe. That's a very dangerous person. His 14-day drug binges fueled paranoia, rage, and impulsivity. A single perceived slight, like a drink Cassie handed someone, triggered instant assault. So her being polite just triggered the worst in him. So a relationship coaching lesson in this is if a man cannot regulate disappointment, embarrassment, jealousy, or loss of control, then you will become his emotional punching bag. Emotional volatility is not passion, air quotes. It's it's a safety threat. Like, this is a man that you need to not be around. And that is very prevalent in today's dating scene and relationships. And we see it on social media all the time. Men who have not learned how to regulate their own emotions, they are not men you need to consider or be around. They're dangerous. Okay, point number 4. Insecurity disguised as standards. You know, Diddy framed his controlling behavior as preference, leadership, or protectiveness. In episode 3, in actuality, what we saw were women in his life had to adhere to strict rules, where they could go, who they could talk to, how they could present themselves, etc. Cassie was expected to be available 24/7. Any autonomy was punished. Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane was sexually propositioned, then fired when she rejected him, framed as cutting dead weight. Kim Porter was the only woman he feared losing, yet he weaponized his high standards to manipulate her into returning. And I believe he feared losing her because she was at Uptown and at the beginnings and the makings of his success. And to me, she was one of the few women that didn't mind going up against him. To me, Kim Porter and Misa Hylton have very different personalities in the sense and the way that they regarded and treated Diddy. I don't know any of these people. This is just my observation. Also, he continually reminded women that being chosen by him was a privilege they should be grateful for. Does that not sound familiar with some of the foolishness we hear men say on social media today? Why does he need to remind you of that? That's ridiculous. So the relationship coaching lesson here is men who weaponize standards, air quotes, are masking insecurity. If a standard only benefits him or limits you, it's not a standard, it's control. Healthy structure liberates you. Control collapses you. All right. And the last point I want to jump in here are women pay the price for his wounds. In episode 3, it highlights how Diddy's childhood trauma, harsh beatings from his mother, instability, and emotional neglect became the blueprint for his adult violence. We heard in episode 3 that his mother's severe physical punishments normalized violence as emotional expression. Diddy recreated chaos and intensity in his romantic relationships because peace felt foreign to him. He oscillated between worship and punishment, idealizing women, then devaluing and destroying them. He built women into archetypes: muse, mother, plaything, servant, instead of seeing them as individuals. And then Kim Porter left him multiple times because she recognized the unhealed boy trapped inside the powerful man, a boy who refused to get help. Diddy, to me, never actually wanted to go lay on no, lady couch with the right credentials and process and get help, because that would then mean there would be an expectation for him to change his behavior. He didn't want to do that. He liked the power that he had, and he liked abusing people. So the relationship coaching lesson here is Diddy's trauma is not his fault, right? But any man's trauma, especially childhood trauma, that's not his fault. But it becomes yours when he refuses to heal. So if you're dealing with a man who has a lot of childhood trauma and he has not done a fair amount of work when he meets you, he has not worked on his healing, he will not be a good partner, because his unprocessed and unhealed trauma is going to become your fault. And he is going to unleash that on you. Unhealed men don't stay wounded. They become wounding, okay? He's going to become the inflictor of pain and not just the person who has been, pain has been inflicted upon. Your empathy cannot save a man who enjoys the power imbalance his trauma creates. And that is what we saw with Diddy many times. He liked the power he had in being able to control Cassie and the freak offs and all those things, and wounding women in the multiple ways he did so. He liked the power. He liked being able to do that. He liked the humiliation. He liked all of it. And then when you tie in the spiritual aspects of it, he was never going to get help and try to heal because he saw no reason to change. So let me know your thoughts about kind of the recap on episode 3, as well as some of the relationship coaching lessons that you can take away from this and implement in your own dating life. And listen, after sitting with episode 3, here's the real takeaway. It is not enough to simply avoid bad men. You have to learn how to spot insecure men with power because they are the ones who cause the deepest wounds, the longest recovery, and the most silent suffering. Watching the documentary isn't about Diddy. It's about understanding the mindset of men who use control, secrecy, sexual dominance, manipulation, and emotional chaos as their love language. The patterns are textbook, the behavior is predictable, and the impact on women is devastating every single time. If this breakdown hit home, honor that. Don't intellectualize it. Integrate it. Ask yourself, am I ignoring red flags because a man chooses me? Am I shrinking because he prefers me smaller? Am I mistaking chaos for passion? Am I teaching a man that mistreatment is something I can adapt to? You deserve emotional safety, clarity, consistency, and respect, not a roller coaster you're trying to survive. If you want a deeper coaching, journaling, screening tool journey with me, come join my exclusive coaching community on Coffee. This is where I teach women to date with standards, self-trust, and strategy. No more being blindsided, breadcrumbed, or emotionally taxed by men who only offer confusion. Your intuition is speaking to you.